2026 is really shaping up to be a fantastic year in terms of video game releases, and honestly, it's looking like it could be one of the best years in over a decade. If you're like me though, you probably love diving into an FPS game from time to time, and 2026 is certainly looking stacked for all of us FPS fans. So today, what I'll be doing is covering the 15 brand new FPS games coming both Xbox and Game Pass next year, and to see if any of them are worth your time. With that though, my name is Fletcher, and this is Xbox Nation. If you're new here or just returning, I cover everything from Xbox news, reviews and updates every single day, so make sure to subscribe down below. With that, let's check out the games coming our way next year. If you said to me that there's a game coming out that's a cross between Bioshock and Dishonored but with its brand new own identity in an industrial Victorian era with futuristic cyberpunk elements, I think I'd pretty much lose my mind. Well, here we are. I'm officially losing my mind. This one is set in the mysterious city of Brightville, where magic and steampunk technology do collide, and it looks so bloody awesome. You'll be playing as a unique automaton that is unaffected by the presumably nefarious AI that controls the entire city. You will then have to try and get out and mess around with these different abilities, form relationships with different characters, with the world around you reacting based on your decisions. Following on from the heavily Britishized Atomfall, I'm actually excited to try this game out as it has some pretty cool Cockney accents. ExeKiller is one game that I've seen many of you getting really excited for in the comments below, and that's because it's blending the best of cyberpunk and western genres, but into a unique post-apocalyptic world. In this one, you play as a bounty hunter in a lawless land, navigating a world filled with tons of advanced technology and Old West aesthetics. With a mix of open-world exploration and intense gunfights with deep narrative choices, ExeKiller is looking to aim and offer a highly replayable experience where your decisions impact the story. The setting is a character in itself, so think neon-lit saloons, robotic outlaws, and vast deserts that are hiding secrets from a lost civilization. The game does promise a unique fusion of totally different genres, and is one to watch if you're looking for something truly different in 2026. Developer Team Clout really did blow me away, along with many of you as well, with its Ill Xbox announcement earlier this year. Ill is a realistic first-person action horror game that takes us into a dark fort that's been overtaken by a mysterious entity. It does look to bring us some very grim storytelling with unpredictable monsters, alongside a visceral dismemberment system, and of course realistic physics creating an atmosphere of relentless terror. According to the game's Steam page at the moment, the developers have had experience working on numerous horror movies and series, with credits to Longlegs, Until Dawn, and so many more. With Ill, they did state that they wanted to create a game that will claw its way into your consciousness and expose your true fears layer by layer. Honestly, it's looking pretty awesome. I probably won't play it as I'm not a fan of horror games, but I still can't get over that last snippet of this trailer. The largest highlight for me of the Xbox showcase earlier this year was easily Clockwork Revolution, and I know many out there are saying exactly the same thing. This one wasn't a short snippet of gameplay either, as we got a rather extensive look at everything in the game, and honestly, I'm beyond hype even if we didn't get a fixed release date. We did get a lovely new look though at the steampunk city of Avalon, and we saw a ton to get excited about. There were everything from gangs that looked to prey on the weak, tons of automatons with some being funny little puppets, and even the showcase of being able to transform the environment around you based on your own choices. The combat also looks pretty great from an FPS perspective, and the added benefit of that sort of in-depth weapon customizer made me even more excited. I can't wait to learn more about the world of Clockwork Revolution in the near future, and I'm hoping we get more of a showing at the Xbox Developer Direct sometime early next year. One of the more interesting releases in the last few years has to be Atomic Heart, which did actually attract an absurd amount of attention leading up to its release. While the finished game didn't actually quite match the levels of hype though, it was still a fascinating action-adventure game with a fair amount of promise to it. Now we do finally have confirmation that Studio Mundfish is taking another shot with a larger, more ambitious sequel with Atomic Heart 2. Just like the first game though, Atomic Heart 2 will be an action-adventure first-person shooter, but this time further expanding on the RPG and also open-world elements. We will be returning to that same alternate history with the retro-futuristic design and dystopian world that really is on the brink of total collapse. But this time the story will unfold on a global scale following the tragic events of Atomic Heart 2. There is no fixed release date with this one as of yet, but it's safe to assume we could see this towards the late end of 2026. Alongside Atomic Heart 2, Mundfish also announced a new MMORPG shooter called The Cube, and this one is also set within the same universe of Atomic Heart. As the name does imply though, it is set within a massive Leviathan structure called The Cube, and it's the epicenter of increasingly dangerous phenomena where you and other players must dive into its secrets and survive to save humanity. As you can see, you are still getting the incredibly beautiful visuals that we do come to expect from this franchise, and then all of the over-the-top action and bosses that we kind of expect in an MMO. What is interesting though is that the devs have mentioned that the map will shift all in real time, creating a really unique scenario and uncovering areas not yet explored. It does seem pretty awesome, but again this one does seem a way out, with rumours pointing to a late 2026 release date. If you're a lover of zombie shooters, I know you've recently had Dying Like the Beast that's come out to some critical acclaim. However, there's another title that's worth keeping on your radar for 2026, and it's called Project Z Beyond Order. Whilst the genre is pretty crowded these days, this one does stand out and is coming to both Xbox and PC. It's a court first-person shooter that's set in alternate World War II timeline, where you'll be commanding a squad of unique soldiers as they explore a lush isolated island and uncover some dark Nazi experiments, and that's aimed at creating an undead army. The early previews so far have shown some rather impressive visuals alongside atmospheric gameplay, and it does give some strong reasons to be really excited here. I've actually been following this project ever since chatting with the developers back in the Google Stadia days, and it's looking better than I've ever seen before. If you do want to see an early review or even a gameplay preview, do let me know down below, as I will reach out to the development team. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando looks bloody incredible from what we've all seen so far, and to be honest, in all honesty, it's giving the impression that this might be one of the best zombie games to arrive on our consoles this generation. This really is bringing a ton of pulpy energy and buckets of zombie viscera, and also looks like it should serve sort of Left 4 Dead fans pretty well. It all looks like you'll be able to group up with your friends and engage in first-person horde blasting action, both on foot and also for the first time in vehicles. The game is of course powered by Saber's Swarm engine, which was also put to use for games like World War Z Aftermath and the most recent Space Marine 2. In other words, expect a lot of enemies on your screen at one moment. This one is set to release though in early 2026 on both the Xbox Series consoles alongside PC, and I'm really excited to dive into it. That excitement doesn't stop there though, as I'm really excited to dive into this next game. I loved the original High on Life when it came to Xbox Game Pass a few years back now, and even have the 1000 gamer score, and I was always shocked that we got the announcement of High on Life 2 at the Xbox Showcase earlier this year. This one though is coming in early 2026 to of course Xbox and PC, but will be a day one Xbox Game Pass title, as we did see with the first entry. Of course, like the previous game, we are joined by a beloved ragtag team of alien misfits, as we'll have to shoot, stab and skate our way through weird alien worlds across the galaxy. Instead of the aliens using humans for drugs in the previous story, the game now goes into a wacky new direction, and instead aliens are now using humans in zoos and also on top of a luxury fantastic cruise liner. The info and gameplay so far have actually shown us some brand new weapons alongside characters and also fan favourites, and still includes that signature humour that you know and love. I honestly can't wait to this one, and I will dive into it right away in early 2026. Well, surprisingly, we do have a return of a game that went dead silent for practically 4 years, but is now landing fairly soon. ExeKiller has finally returned, and we do have a confirmed release window of Q1 2026, but the game has now transitioned from a free-to-play experience to a paid one, and the game's now priced at $20. The developer behind this one is clearly still very passionate about this project though, and instead of now being a one-man team, they've now had 5 people working on the project with a promise of even more content at its launch. When it finally does arrive though, ExeKiller will take on the form of a multiplayer shooter, offering both a breathtaking sci-fi gaming experience that's complete with a 20 vs 20 conquest mode and also a 1 vs 100 mecha royale mode. I did actually get my hands on this game in an exclusive gameplay preview, so you can check it out here on the channel if you are interested. The same developers who are responsible for the WW1 series are bringing us a brand new shooter in early 2026, and it will be coming to both Xbox and PC. WW1 Gallipoli is the next entry and is set to take us across the wind-swept beaches of the Dardanelles to the expansive rolling deserts. Of course, this one is once again a multiplayer first experience, as we see in games like Hell Let Loose. However, there are more options for custom matches and bots if you do so prefer. The devs have also stated this will be one of the most immersive and intense depictions of WW1 yet, as they really wanted to utilize as much power from the current generation of consoles and PCs possible. I am super excited that we're seeing loads more World War era shooters coming back into the fray this generation, and I can't wait to dive into this one next year. In the same vein though with World War shooters, then you probably love the PTSD war simulator that's known as Hell Let Loose. If you enjoyed this one and spent way too many hours in it, just like me, then you can get extremely excited as Hell Let Loose Vietnam is coming to the Xbox Series consoles next year. Of course, this one is actually described as having the same high caliber gameplay as the first entry, and the publisher did add that it would include an authentic, atmospheric, and historically sensitive experience of the events that did occur during the Vietnam War. The new gameplay we've seen so far has us utilizing combined arms with air, water, armor, infantry, and support weapons, and it really looks to encapsulate the damning nature of the warfare within that era. With them now also bringing Hueys and even boats into the action, I really can't wait for this brand new Hell Let Loose. If you like games with a bit more mix of mystery and action, then Lunar Abyss is going to grab your attention in 2026. In this one, you play as a prisoner that's sent deep into a forgotten lunar colony to gather intel, but what you find down there is far more than you bargained for. This game though looks to blend fast-paced frantic shooting with a lot of deep exploration, and the environments here look really atmospheric and unsettling, with the enemies being that fierce as well. Lunar Abyss is just as much about uncovering the dark story of this abandoned lunar outpost as it is about surviving dangers within the depths. There's a rich narrative as well that's meant to be running through the game, and the tension looks to build up as you dive deeper within the abyss. If you're a lover of all things sci-fi shooter-wise, then this has a strong focus on story, and it'll be one for you to watch in 2026. I have to ask, are you looking for more horror action experiences? Well, if you are, then Rip Out aims to deliver a horror FPS game where players are tasked with clearing out some old spaceships. The problem here is that you'll also have to fight off monsters that can mutate, but this means some incredibly unique and enjoyable combat similar to what we see in the Doom franchise. Each ship though will be procedurally generated, so no run should ever feel the same when you're going into this experience. You can enjoy the game as a solo one or team up with your friends as you'll seek out some precious loot during every new run. By venturing into each various ship, you will track down the valuable gear, blow away your mutated monsters, and make a clean break as quickly as you can. For me, this one looks really interesting, and even though I'm not a horror fan, I might actually have to try this one as it's really tempting me. I want to know how many of you actually watched the channel and remember a game called Army Men Sarge's Hero. For me, that game really was my childhood, and I spent way too many times playing it along with their RTS spin-off as well. Well, if you're a fan of the Little Green Men, then Green Hawk Platoon will certainly catch your eye as it's been announced for Xbox alongside PC. Right out the gate, this one will offer us both a single player game along with competitive multiplayer, and it's going to be a fun and really engaging experience. Essentially, we'll be able to team up as plastic toy soldiers to battle for control of locations like kitchens and backyards, and the game looks to combine super responsive gunplay with class-based combat, that meaning riflemen to commandos. I've actually been absolutely gagging for a successor to Army Men Sarge's Hero, and this one looks like a fantastic spiritual successor. Are there any FPS games that have you really excited in 2026? You'll have to let me know in the comments below. Remember as well to smash that like button if you enjoy videos like these, and do subscribe as it really helps me out as the channel is growing from strength to strength. Thanks again so much for your support, and if you want to check out another awesome Xbox video, why don't you check out the one on screen now. I recently covered all the news, rumours and leaks surrounding the next generation of Xbox consoles, and it has us incredibly excited.